Okay, so I don't know what happened there. I lost the video. Hope that's not going to be a pattern. Nope, it'll be fine. So if you've found this second video, please log on. Let me know that you've found it. Dear. Okay. Come on, great spirit. Get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road, as Black Elk would say. Hi Sharon, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened, so I just, thanks Claire, I just straight away started with another. Good, that's great, Catherine. Okay, good, you're smart. I straight away started with another video. Sending out vibrations of video. Oh dear. Now can you still see me? Because it says sorry, we're having trouble playing this video. I think Facebook's having issues. I think just excuse me one moment. Seems to be fine. Okay. Don't know if you guys can see me. Can you or even hear me? Can you drop me a line? And Colette, you can see and hear me at the moment, can you? I can't see anything. It says we're having trouble playing this video. Catherine says I can still see you. That was when. Yeah, so you can still see me. I can't see myself. Well, as long as you can see me, that's the main thing. Great. So we'll just push on. I'm not going to try and fix this, because it's not a problem that I can't see myself. As long as you can see me, that's the main thing. As long as it's actually recording. So you can see me, so it must be recording okay. And maybe my visual will come back again. And you can see me and hear me. So that's fine. No problem. We'll just push on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to try and edit that out. So, good evening. Glad says get a mirror. Okay, good evening and welcome to week 5, which is all about mediumship. I think something that we're all very, very interested in. Now, we'll be doing a bit of dowsing, and I have my pendulum here with me. I don't know if you guys have pendulums. You can use it's moving by itself. You can use many things as a pendulum. It doesn't have to be one of these guys, but we'll talk about that before we leave tonight. I want to talk about mediumship first, and move straight on with one of the first, I think one of the first exercises that any aspiring medium would benefit from, which is a wee 10-minute exercise that helps you to recognize when you are actually contact with a spirit and not just your intuition. Hi Emma. It is beautiful, isn't it? Amethyst, it's a lovely one. This wee 10-minute exercise, I'm going to put it down this week as your homework for the foreseeable. And it's very, very simple. You sit quietly, as if you're just going to meditate. You sit quietly for 10 minutes and you close your eyes and just bring your awareness right into your body and into your energy field. If you don't know how to bring your awareness into your energy field, I'll rephrase that. Bringing your awareness into your energy field is as if you're trying to feel it. Is anything touching me? You know, what does it feel like with the wind on my back, or that warm air on my back, or what do my clothes feel like against my skin? That helps you to tune in with your energy field. You're tuning in with the atmosphere around your body, the energy around your body. So you're not trying to tune into something that's way out there or over there or someone in the room, but you're just trying to tune into what's closest to you, but not inside of you. And that helps you to tune in with your energy field, with that etheric field. Because when the spirits make contact with you, either through physical mediumship or through mental mediumship, they'll make a change, and you'll feel a change in that field. We'll talk about the difference between mental and physical mediumship first, I think, before I push on with this exercise. As you can imagine, mental mediumship is where you're getting messages through clairaudience and your thoughts. So the messages is coming from spirit through your third eye, through a mental process. But physical mediumship is almost like a step further than that as well, where a spirit not only can give you thoughts from that spirit, and you're getting thoughts that aren't yours, but also you'll feel different as well, as if something's happening to your physical body, such as spirit touching you, or a feeling maybe that you're even as far as a feeling perhaps that you're not even yourself. And physical mediumship is something that, if you would describe yourself as an empath, then you're a physical medium. Because physical mediumship is something that when a person experiences something that doesn't belong to her or him, something that's come from outside. Now, okay, you might say that because everything's a mirror, then of course everything is a reflection of what's inside, and that's true. But within the realms of individuality, within the realms of you're you, I'm not you, and you're separate from me in that way, then I can empathically pick up energy from you. If a spirit in the spirit world has passed over, it's the same thing. I can empathically pick up energy from that spirit according to how close they are to my energy field. If they come in and they just sort of send a message through the third eye, then you've got mental mediumship, and your energy really doesn't shift any, doesn't change any. But if they come, what I call it, closer to you, then you can get very empathic feelings. So maybe your heart will start to quicken up. You might feel certain emotions. You might feel like you want to speak in a certain accent or a certain manner that you've never done before. You might want to move your hands or gesticulate or maybe do something that you don't normally would wish to do, but that's coming from that spirit. So it's like you're getting their personality imprinting over your personality. And you know, it's very much a realm of the shaman. So I kind of want you to look at shamanism in this respect as not so much someone that beats a drum and burns sage, because that's only a tiny, tiny, tiny little part of shamanism. And even not so much as someone who works with the indigenous ancestors. That's just another part of shamanism. But a shaman is someone that transcends realities and is in communication with more than just the physical world, therefore with the spiritual world and the minds that are in the spiritual world. Can somebody do me a favour just to relieve my anxiety here, and just drop me another comment and say, yes, we can still hear you, Eliza, because I can see nothing. Just drop me another comment, say, yes, we can still hear you, yes, we can still see you, please, 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 please. Otherwise I'll begin again. Okay, so physical mediumship is very much the art of physical changes happening in your energy field. Now it can go as far as manifestation, and of course thank you, Anne, of course all manifestation is due to physical mediumship. Therefore you can deduce from that every single soul on the planet is capable of physical mediumship, because they're already doing it unconsciously. It's an unconscious process that we are absolute masters at. It's only when we come to conscious mediumship and conscious healing and conscious shifting and conscious channeling that we think, because of our ego, that this is not possible and that this is something that we have to learn how to do. Therefore that's why there seems to be a process, and some people can do it and other people can't. Okay, you will find that as you evolve, you will eventually adopt all the psychic senses and become a shaman. So a shaman, a natural born shaman like myself, is one that already has all the psychic senses, and their relearning of all of this becomes much, much easier, which of course is why I have learned so much in my short time. The ego is a bummer. It is, but we wouldn't be anywhere without it. Believe me, we would be nowhere without it. Okay. So, and then of course mental mediumship is just the art of listening to a spirit's mind, to a mind other than your own mind. Telepathy, that's mental mediumship. Physical mediumship can go so far as manifestation, and as far as manifesting maybe a voice that is not your voice but someone else's voice. We're talking about channeling here. It can be as physical as people actually hearing a voice coming from the medium's mouth without without that recognition that it's the medium that's speaking. So it's as if the medium's mouth is open and closing, but the voice is coming from somewhere here. And that's because spirit has used the person's physical mediumship, which includes all the physical symptoms of their body. And this is something that we're going to talk about in the Masterclass of Healing. So the spirit uses all the physical processes of the medium's body to build up what's called ectoplasm, to build up etheric energy, to build up form, such as an external voice box, a fourth dimensional voice box here. It looks kind of like a trumpet if you see it you see that energy through the red light. You can see it's kind of like a bit of a trumpet, and it comes from the medium's nose and throat and mouth, their stomach as well. This energy is pulled from their stomach. We're going to talk all about that in the premium class for healing, but this is not something that you can talk about in 5 minutes or even half an hour for that matter. This is a day's work of talking. This is a workshop in itself, hence the workshop. So that's physical mediumship. Most of you guys will have some degree of physical mediumship and know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're an empath, well, there you go, that's it. If you feel someone's sadness without trying, if you feel someone's anger without trying, and you know that this is not coming from a place within you, then yes, that's physical mediumship, that's empathy. Mediums are seen by the spirit world. I mean, I can only go by, yes, things that I've read about, yes, that kind of clarify things for me, but most of my teaching with mediumship has been from the spirits themselves, and any medium worth their salt will tell you the same thing. But they would tell me when they are in the astral worlds or beyond that, and they're looking to the lower worlds, the earthly worlds, they see mediums like a bright light. So they see all souls like lights. A soul is not a face and a body that they see, but they see the light of the soul. And mediums have a light that reaches through the astral realms and even further on, almost like an open crown chakra with that golden light just beaming up or beaming in, whatever way you want to describe going towards the spirit world. It's up and it's in at the same time. So that light beams up, beams in, and the many spirits in all the different spiritual realms can see that, but they'll only of course see it according to how bright they are themselves. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a wee moment. What I want to talk about is that 10-minute exercise. And so what you want to be doing until next week is taking say 15 minutes each day, and for the first 10 minutes just sit very quietly in your own energy, and you're attempting to feel the atmosphere around your body. You're attempting to feel your energy field, and don't be worrying if you're having thoughts, because that's okay, that's absolutely fine. Recognize what the thoughts are, know that they have your voice, that they're coming from you, that they're usually about what you're doing or what you've been doing this morning or what you're going to do tomorrow. Feel physically what your body feels like, and emotionally, look emotionally into your heart and into your stomach, and think, you know, how am I feeling right now? What's the mood like right now? Look at your energy levels and test what energy levels you are. Are you high energy? Are you low energy? Are you kind of flat? Are you feeling motivated? And just notice these things for about 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, okay, still stay in the same position, nice and quiet, only this time you're asking any guides that are connected to you for mediumship, that can help you with mediumship, to come through now. You're not asking for spirits to come through and be read or to be helped in any way. You're asking for guides to come, mediumship guides to come through and help you. So those mediumship guides will come through, and spend the next 5 minutes just noticing any changes from the previous 10 minutes. Are there thoughts there that weren't there before, that don't have anything to do with what you were doing this morning, etc.? Did you feel any sort of touch on your skin anywhere? One of the most common things is like breath at the back of the neck. So, and a feeling of coolness at the back, a chilling down your spine. Some people get like a love wash, which is warmth throughout them. Some people get like a touch on their ear, or even a tap on their shoulder. Things like that there. I get like a feeling, I used to with black elk, get a smell of on-tanned leather, animal skins. I used to get a dirty smell of black elk, so I knew that was him. And yeah, I kind of, can you still see me, because my laptop's just gone dark. Drop me another line again. Yeah, Claire, you get a sort of a chill down your spine, and you get like a coolness at the back of your neck. Very, very often with spiritual, or you might feel like someone's come in and stood very close to you, and that can feel cool. It can even feel cold. Spirit can feel cold, but it can also feel warm. You know, it's not necessarily that they feel cold. I think they feel cold if they're doing what's called overshadowing. Thank you, Alison. Overshadowing is when a spirit comes in and doesn't merge with your etheric body, but just kind of stands somewhere close by, and you get this feeling through your clairsentience that somebody's there, there's something there. Or you might get a wee glimpse through your clairvoyance that there was a quick change in the light there, that there was a flicker in the light. You might see a colour out of the corner of your eye. These are all indications that another mind is making some kind of communication with you. So do that 10-minute exercise. I'm going to write it down in a post as your homework for you to remember. But what I'm going to do now is, I've put up, I don't, if you can see this chart, I put up a post today about an hour ago, in the photos album called Week 5, and it's called Stages of Mediumship Experience. Because I would like to share with you, because there's some of you that are very advanced, therefore you're probably well into your mediumship as well, but there's some of you that are absolute beginners, and I know for a fact that there's some of you that are beginners that are already experiencing mediumship and just want some direction with that. So this is what I discovered through my own experience. When you're in the first throes of awakening, and what's happening is your lower bodies are shifting, your lower chakras are shifting, so your root, your sacral, your solar plexus and your heart, they're all starting to open and shift, and you're experiencing these shifts in consciousness, and you open up the fourth dimension, and all of those things that we talked about before. When that's happening, at the same time, do you remember I said that you are consciousness? So as your chakras, which are the connection to your subconscious and the connection to the divine, you kind of stand between, as you're awakening, your experience of the spirit world is opening up, and your experience of your subconscious is opening up as well. So your subconscious is opening, therefore the inner child within you, the hurts, the traumas, the parts of you that haven't evolved, that aren't mature, spiritually mature, or maybe even emotionally mature, those parts of you start to tug and cry for help and say, you can imagine they're saying, well, what about me? You know, don't forget me. And that's what awakening is. Awakening is the path to self-awareness, becoming aware of the full self, not just what you are as spirit. It's about becoming aware of your inner child, becoming aware of your subconscious, and transmuting and ascending that into the light of your higher self. So as your inner child is crying out for help and your subconscious is opening, then because you're also opening up your connection to the spirit world at this stage, that's what you get from the spirit world. You get kids, was kids I got at the beginning. You get women, you get men, all ages, coming to you crying, help me, help me, help me. And their energy is usually heavy. Their energy will match your heaviest energy in your subconscious. For example, I experienced abuse in my lifetime, and I pushed it away to the pits of my subconscious to an extent that I couldn't remember it until I was in my 20s. And after I had the awakening age 36, then I began to shift my lower bodies, which meant my subconscious was opening, which meant that part of me was crying out, help me, help me, help me. So you can imagine that was a great deal of help she was looking for, that she was abused, wounded, lonely, betrayed, frightened, all of those things. And that's the energy I was getting from the spirit world. So because I was opening up to the spirit world as a reflection of my subconscious opening, the spirit that was coming from other minds was also heavy and wounded and lonely and frightened, and in the dark shadowy worlds of the lower astral bodies. Then of course, as I shifted my lower astral bodies, the root, the sacral, the third, the solar plexus, the heart, as I shifted up through those, then my experience of spirit and the spirits that were coming to me got lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter, but still looking for help, always looking for help. It is my experience then that once you shift those lower bodies and you start to move into the heart in sincerity, and you open that twin flame of your heart and you start to look upon yourself with compassion, and you start then to open the third eye and the crown chakra, then I believe, because of the higher frequency of the third eye and the crown chakra, then I believe then that what you're doing, and we talked about this before, is you're crossing over into the light. You're going through that second death that I spoke about, where you connect to what's above, or what's seemingly above the crown chakra, but really is the 8th dimension here and 9th dimension here. Yeah, and the 10th here. So you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is the doorway, remember, 11, 12. So as you are crossing over into your own light of your higher self, and your crown chakra is opening up, then the spirit that you're attracting from the spirit world are those that are ready to cross over. So those that also have worked their way up through the astral realms in the spirit world, not in the physical world. At the end of the day, even though we're living beings, the shifts up through our chakras that we were doing were spiritual shifts, not physical shifts. So those spiritual shifts are reflected in the spirit world. They're doing it there too, just as well as we're doing it spiritually here. The only difference is they don't have a body, we do. They can do it quicker than us if someone here is helping them. And that's where this stage of mediumship comes in. You begin to help the spirits in the spirit world cross over. That's what's happening on an individual mind level. But then on a collective consciousness, because you are consciousness and everything is a mirror of you, on that reality, on that level, you're really using external mirror to cross yourself over, to cross every single little piece of yourself over. And that's why this stage is reflecting your past life healing, the clearing of your karma and all your ancestral energy. So you work on your lower bodies first, and then when you get to this stage and connect with your soul family, then you start to cross over. You start to cross over all ancestral energy, which means past life stuff, past lives with your family, and past gosh, my screamer blank there scared me. Past generations of your biological family, like we talked about earlier with healing the family soul and ancestral healing. So that's the next stage. And then there's another stage, of course. Then once you unite, as we said before, once you unite with your soul family and you've done your healing and you've come into Christ consciousness, and that third flame is lit in your heart, then you're working in service to humanity, and you start to be initiated into mastery. I think we talked about that. So at this stage, the spirits that you connect with you from the healing world, regardless of where they are, regardless of what realm they're in or who they are there to help you to work with other people, to be in service to other people. For example, I can't give the person's name, but I was with a person recently, and her great-great-grandfather came in, said to me, "You can call me Joe, but my name is," and I thought he said Hokap or something like that. Turns out his name was Joseph, and they called him Joe. So he came in not with the heavy energy of the family, because the family has a lot of heavy energy, but he didn't come in with that heavy energy. He came in from a level of service to humanity. And I was able to connect with him on that level because I'm at that level myself. So he was able to mirror that for me. That automatically heals him, automatically puts him in the light, and allows him then to help his family, to help me help his family. So that's kind of the level of spiritual assistance that you're getting at that stage. That's not to be confused with spirit guides and angels. They're different things altogether. Your spirit guides and angels are only interested in your evolution and your ascension. But other minds, individual minds connected to families here on earth, their desires is about their family, and they want to help you help them. And I mean, you know, if I was a medium that was only beginning and had very heavy energy, then Joe would have connected with me on a lower level, and the whole conversation with his family would have been about, oh, here's this guy called Joe, and he wants to talk about the heaviness in your family, and he wants to say sorry, and he wants to do this, and he wants to do that, and then, you know, they're coming for help. They're either coming for help or you're crossing them over, but then eventually they're there to help you help their family. And that helps you too, of course, because every single piece of light work that you do for others or for the global world, you're doing for yourself, of course. Okay. Oh, Catherine says I paused for a moment and then back. So guys, listen, if that happens again, drop me a line. If I go off altogether, drop me a line so I know what's happening, because I'm looking at a black screen and I'm just trusting. I'm winging it here and trusting. I'm trusting in Great Spirit, and so far, Great Spirit's doing me right. So trust. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, great. We're doing well with time. So I've got a wee note here. What part your guides play in spirit communication? I'll talk about that first, and then I'll talk about the ways that spirit comes through, the kind of things that might happen, and how you can interpret what's happening with them, what they're saying to you. But let's talk about your guides first, because as I said, your guides are about your evolution and your ascension. So if you're working with spirits other than your guides through mediumship to help other people, then obviously that helps you, and so your guides want a piece of that. They're completely interested in getting on board with that. And what happens is, you have, whether you're a shaman or not, shamans, the only difference between shamans and people that are not shamans are shamans recognize the many guides that they have, whereas people that aren't shamans tend to recognize one guide or two guides or whatever. But let me tell you, everybody's the same. There's nobody special. Nobody's special. Everybody's the same. We're all the same. We all work the same way. And shamans are those that have developed their psychic skills, developed mediumship, developed their astral travel, all of these things. That's what makes them shamans in this lifetime. But it doesn't mean that you're different. Okay, so the shaman recognizes that there is a guide there for every chakra. So there's a guide there for your root divine feminine guide. And you usually don't connect with her, let's say her or she, until you're working with your crystalline energy, until you're really connected with the divine feminine. And then in comes a divine feminine guide, such as Kuan Yin or Mother Mary or White Buffalo Calf Pipe Woman, or maybe an extraterrestrial from Venus, which I'm working with at the moment. And usually she'll have her counterpart with her divine masculine counterpart with her as well, or twin flame with her as well. Your sacral chakra is all about your art, your passion, your beauty, your creativity, and your solar plexus as well. And so that has guides that are usually, for example, St. Paul the Venetian, great artists, great mediums, people that, great mathematicians, great singers, musicians. All of those kind of people work with the second and third chakras. And they help with your mentality. You need your solar plexus energy and your sacral energy for mediumship, although it's reflected in the throat and the third eye, because I think I said to you before that the third eye reflects the solar plexus, balances the solar plexus, and the throat balances the sacral balances the throat. And as spirit comes in, it must come through this watery realm into the physical realm, and then come through the watery creative sacral realm into the manifestation, the root chakra. So these guides work with your chakras, and how that relates to mediumship is, because if you want to hear a spirit, you have to use your third eye. You're working with your solar plexus as well as your third eye. then you've got your solar plexus guide. And that's usually what we would call a gatekeeper or a doorkeeper, a gatekeeper or a doorkeeper. And as you can imagine, I think some of you I've spoken to about this before. It's in that activation I do to activate your doorkeeper, connected with your solar plexus and your spleen. The recalibration. I'll put up a wee post about those things for you so that you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that particular one, it's called Gatekeeper. It's about recalibrating your solar plexus, recalibrating your physical spleen, and it's all about activating your gatekeeper energy. And your gatekeeper energy is the one that opens the door of your throat and opens the door of your sacral, so that you can work with spirit, so that spirit can meet the physical, so that a mind can even connect with you in the first place. If it opens the throat chakra, if it opens the third eye, then it's able to connect with your mental processes, so you're able to hear their thoughts. If your doorkeeper opens your throat chakra and your sacral, then we're talking about physical mediumship. And this is all part of the process of creation that we're going to talk about in the premium class for healing and manifestation. So your gatekeeper is very, very important when it comes to mediumship. You can imagine it like, imagine you're sitting in your own home and there's a knock on the door and it's spirit. There's a man outside your door and you don't know who it is. And he's opening the door and he's shouting, I wonder, can you help me? I wonder, can you help me? Well, whether or not you want to help him is besides the point, but you're not going to be able to help him unless that door's open. So your doorkeeper is the one that opens the door. And the doorkeeper is only going to open the door if it's for your highest good, and if you can safely help that person or that spirit without harming yourself, without harming your soul's evolution. So you must trust in your soul. That's okay, Marianne. You must trust in your gatekeeper, trust in your doorkeeper. It's a part of yourself. Do that recalibration, that activation of mind called gatekeeper, and that will help you to activate your gatekeeper and understand just exactly what a gatekeeper is. And I'll put a wee post up about it. But yeah, so that's the gatekeeper. Then you've got a mediumship guide, because it's not enough that the gatekeeper opens the door. The mediumship guide has to kick in here. And the mediumship guide is the person that translates from the spirit to you. Direct spirit communication is very rare. Direct spirit communication usually happens through out-of-body experiences at a very, very high frequency, or through physical channeling. But most mediumship has that mediumship guide that translates. And mine is Grace Cook, who was a great medium from the 1930s to to 2001. I think she died, she passed away. She's an aspect of my soul, so a medium, a shaman, and she had she had spirits connect with her, such as Arthur Conan Doyle and Master White Eagle. He was a Ponca Indian, and she would have had a doorkeeper. So because she knows all about mediumship, she's practiced this physically herself, she's the perfect aspect of my soul to help me with mediumship. She'll speak to me because I have direct communication with her. So she'll speak to me and she'll tell me what they're doing, who this person is, and if they're speaking a different language, then she'll translate that language as if it's coming directly from them. So she kind of works with my mind, that helps me to understand different languages and put it immediately into English. And that's how we understand. And that's not going to be any different from you. The same process is going to happen. Albeit maybe, you might find it difficult to speak to your medium guide. This is something that I've been doing for a very long time, so I'm practiced at it. But you can get practiced at that as well. You might not even know who your medium guide is, and yet you're doing mediumship. But trust me, you have a medium guide there that's working on your throat chakra and translating everything, merging that spirit with your physical brain, with your auditory nerves, so that you can hear and understand what they're saying. You might not hear them as if you're hearing someone else's voice. It might feel like their thoughts are popping into your head. More often than not, it's like thoughts are popping into your head, and you know that thought isn't yours, that it's the spirit that you're connected with. They might give you visuals. For example, I said earlier that a guy connected with me, an elderly gentleman. He said, "You can call me Joe, but this is my name." And he said his name in Polish. And that, I didn't hear his physical voice. It didn't even sound like my voice. It was more like a thought that popped into my head, as if I was remembering what someone said to me just now. If you said to me, "My name is Joe," and then I repeat it in my head now, then it's just like a thought, kind of a way. So most mental mediumship is kind of like that. Colette is saying, "Yes, last night I was showing off strawberry jam." I don't understand, Colette. You were showing off strawberry jam. You're going to have to explain that one. Or you were showing strawberry jam from a spirit. Was that it? Yeah, they'll show you stuff. Because, I'm going to speak for Colette here, just to use that as an example, and hopefully I'm right here, Colette. But so a spirit can show you strawberry jam, and you might think, "Well, what's that all about?" Say what you see. Tell your client or whoever you're talking about that you were showing a jar of strawberry jam, and you can bet your life they know what that means. That's what they'll do. They'll show you something that means something to their loved one or to the person that you're reading, but may be complete balderdash to you. You haven't got a clue what they're talking about. So say what you hear. Say what thoughts come into your mind, and say what you see. Describe what you see. Sometimes they'll give you names by showing you someone with the same name. So for me, say Joe. I've got a great uncle called Joe. So they might have showed me my great uncle, and I would have straight away went, "Oh, this man's called Joe." And you will practice whether or not you know if it's a man or a woman. Maybe you might see them if your clairvoyance is working. If you can't see them and feel them, then you just feel that either it's a man or a woman, because you've been practicing your 10-minute exercise, and you get to practice, there's a spirit with me. And then once you get to practice there's a spirit with me, then start asking them questions. And this could be where automatic writing comes in. I used that at that stage. And we'll talk about automatic writing later on. But you could ask that spirit a question and then write the answer out yourself. And so, are you a man? And they might write yes. Then you get this feeling, oh, well, that's what a male energy feels like from the spirit world. or that's what a female energy feels like from the spirit world. You will gradually, bit by bit, with practice with mediumship, with having successes, you will gradually build up your own way of working. This is how I know if it's a man or a woman. This is how I get names from them. This is how they show me what they're talking about. They show me things, or they make me think of things. You know, that they make me think of strawberry jam, or they make me taste strawberry jam, or they make me see strawberry jam, or they might say strawberry jam, you know. So they do that there, and that's so that their loved one will pick up on it and say to you, oh, I know exactly who that is now, because I know why they're showing you strawberry jam, you know. And usually their messages are about trying to help their loved one, but it also can be in the early days about trying to convince their loved one that they are indeed there, that they're not completely gone, that they're still there, and they can still see their loved one, and they can still be a part of their family's life. And they're just trying to pass the message on that says, you know, I'm here, I love you, I haven't gone away, I'm right beside you. And very often they'll maybe pass a bouquet of pink roses or something, which is something that whenever I see, then I know they're expressing their love to their loved ones, you know, that kind of a way. But you will build these things up as you go along. Yeah, Anna's saying that kind of thing is starting to happen with her when she's counselling clients. And yeah, exactly. You know, you can begin with counselling clients, maybe because you're a counsellor, maybe because you're just a good listener or whatever. But you're talking to people, you're having a wonderful conversation. You continue to have these light conversations, and then suddenly spirits are starting to get involved with it. And that's because you're shifting and you're evolving, and your mediumship is starting to open up. There's no really such thing as, you know, you're a medium or you're not a medium. You're a shaman or you're not a shaman. We're all shamans, we're all mediums. And the only difference is, do we develop it? Are we in that game this lifetime around again? Are we doing this again? And when we embark on the path of healing and transformation, it's almost a given that at some stage you are going to experience a degree of mediumship, and then it's up to yourself whether you develop it or not. But your guides will all, there'll be many guides working on one experience of mediumship. Many guides will work on this, not just you and the spirit in the spirit world. There's all of that in between. You can imagine all of your chakras are working here, therefore all of your guides in the spirit world that are connected to your chakras are working here. And you don't have to know that, you don't have to recognize them. Just keep saying what you see and what you hear and so on and so forth, and practice. And take note of all your successes. This worked, that didn't work, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. Okay, then you begin to work then with a spirit team. And that spirit team are those guides that work with your mediumship. Your spirit team are not only your soul family, they are your soul family, because your soul family, do you remember your soul family, the 8th chakra? Your soul family are the unity consciousness of all of your 7 chakras together. So as you work up through your 7 chakras and then activate your 8, then your computer sounds to be working overtime. Well, I don't know what that means, Anne. Could you explain? You know, what happens when you're working with mediumship and guides, I'm going to work to ground my energy here as best as I can. So I'm going, of course, bringing my voice down. And I'm sure you've noticed this as well. And I think we talked about it actually. When you're working with high frequency spirit, then, thank you, Colette, then, you know, that can have an effect on electronic. Just a moment. I think I might know what's wrong. Just 1 second, give me. No, it's fine. Thought maybe the laptop wasn't plugged in. It is. It may be charging or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that's why it's making a whirring noise. But as long as you can hear me fine and see me, that's good. Yeah. That spiritual activity can make your energy field go a bit buzz, 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 you know, and it's activating a lot of you can imagine your nervous system is reflected in your energy field, and so all the nerves in your energy field are going buzz, 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 and activating and connecting up to make all of this happen, and that can send your television, your laptop, your radio, you know, your car, all washing machine. It can make any kind of machine that's got electronics in it go a little bit haywire for a while. And the only way to prevent that is to ground your energy as best you can. Get you earthed as best you can. I'm holding on to the wood of the table at the moment, and I can put my feet completely on the floor and take my shoes off, so onto the wooden floor. So yeah, this will help me ground, and of course bringing my energy right into my body too, with dropping my larynx will help to open this and bring everything right down, and that's going to help ground me. Okay, so we were talking about the spirit team. The spirit team is like your soul family. I mean, they are members of your soul family, but a spirit team is different. I think, you know, we talked at length at one stage about the 7 members of my biological family are the 7 energetic members of my soul family, the 7 souls, the 7 energies. But a spirit team is different. A spirit team is, yes, the same energies, but evolved energies. It's like, do you remember I said your family and those that were around you as a child, they reflect your soul family. And yet when you go through life and see their energies in other people, then your soul sister, soul brother, this is a mother energy, this is a father energy, those frequencies, those people's energies are much higher, quicker. So it's the same type of thing with your spirit team. Your spirit team will be of a very high frequency. You very often, they're not so much angels or archetype energies, but very often they are past lifetimes of yours, aspects of your soul that did this work before, such as me with Black Elk, me with Grace Cook, Padre Pio, Arthur Conan Doyle, Helena Blavatsky, one of the greatest, probably the greatest medium that ever lived. I think she is actually known as the greatest medium that ever lived, Helena Blavatsky. And there's a great deal said about her. Very intelligent. And those are my soul family. Those are my soul team. Not just soul family, but my soul team. Some people have angels that work with them. Some people have indigenous guides Native American guides, Aboriginal guides, Egyptian guides, and maybe spiritualism guides. I've got a wee bit of everything going on there. Maybe not Egyptian, but I've got a wee bit of a lot of different cultures and religions going on with my guides, and I call them my spirit team. And your spirit team will work with you with your mediumship. They'll work with you with your healing. They'll work with you with all aspects of your spiritual path. I've been blessed to be able to connect with spirit since infancy, and never really lost it, even in my dark days, which I would say I was in the wilderness between age 13 and 36. Those are the days where I wasn't doing my spiritual work, but where I was still very much aware of these energies that were around me, and I maybe remember them or think about them or whatever, and I just ignored them. It was a part of my life that I thought was because I wasn't well, because my mind worked differently from everybody else's. I thought that. I had severe mental illness, and I thought that this was an aspect of myself that I didn't trust, that I didn't like, didn't know it was called intuition, didn't know exactly what it was at all. So I kind of shut them down, but they were still there for me, always there for me, working for me, and keeping me safe. Because they are aspects of you, of your highest self, almost like your guardian angel. That's what they are. They're your guardian angel. They're the highest, better part of you that may come from previous lifetimes, but in that sense are minds that are outside of your mind that are taking care of you, and you know that from a perspective of all consciousness is one, which is I. Then that's another mirror of you. It's a part of yourself, the highest, wisest part of yourself, that despite your low energy, despite your traumas, despite what your ignorance of spirit, those are the part of you that is keeping you safe and keeping you connected to your highest good, to your spirit, to your soul, rather. Okay. And they work with mediumship in very different ways. So, I mean, okay, let's talk about mediumship with them. When we talk about mediumship with your spirit team, we're talking about them doing things such as opening the throat, translating messages. Arthur Conan Doyle, I call him a go-getter. When I'm working with a person with healing the family soul, Arthur Conan Doyle will go get aspects of that person's soul or members of their biological family that are deceased, or aspects of their soul that were from previous lifetimes. He'll go and get them and bring them to me so that we can discuss these things and talk about them. It's like there's a navigation system built into your subconscious, because of course everything that is and was and ever shall be, everything is there in your subconscious or your unconscious, and so you have a built-in navigation system that can go find Joe. Even though I didn't know the man when he was living, and I know practically nothing about him now, but a part of my subconscious, using that navigation system, which was Arthur Conan Doyle, went and found the aspect of my consciousness which was Joe, reflected by Joe. I hope you understand that. It's amazing. But Spirit will do, your Spirit team will do all sorts of things, and to have one particular outcome, and it'll break it down into different tasks. I suppose it's a wee bit like you maybe building a house. There's the part of you that's a carpenter, there's the part of you that's the plumber, the part of you that's the brickie, you know, the part of you that's the decorator. There's also all parts of you that are necessary to have that finished house. So when you work with mediumship, all aspects of you must work together, and your Spirit team reflects that process of all aspects working together. So when you work with mediumship, and especially if you embark on a path of shamanism, you will discover aspects of yourself that you will call guides, spirit guides. And what I want to say to you right now is just, you know, yes, take them as a spirit guide, because of course they're individual as well. But never forget or neglect to take everything back to yourself, as Black Jack used to say to me. Take it back to yourself. Take it back to the idea that consciousness is I within, and that is self-empowerment. That's self-empowerment. So for example, Padre Pio, who works with me with healing and with ancestral clearing, he was a powerful man when he was living, a powerful psychic, a powerful shaman, much more powerful than I am, able to do greater things that I'm doing now. And he works with me. So he's individual in himself, that great person, did great things, and yet he's another mirror of me. So he's reflecting an aspect of my soul that does that is that great, that can perform those things. And so I'll take that, I'll accept that, and I'll say, yes, I can. You know, kind of as these things I do, you can also do, and yet greater things that you will do. Kind of like that. Okay, great. We're moving on rightly tonight. I want to talk about channeling the higher self. Oh yes, before I do, physical mediumship then. Physical mediumship is a bit trickier than mental mediumship, and so your guides in your spirit team will have to work extremely hard with physical mediumship to help you to balance the right energies for this to happen. My guides, my spirit team, call them conditions. They would say to me, the conditions are right, or the conditions are not right. We want you to do this, or we want you to do that. When I'm channeling a spirit, for example, when I was channeling Padre Pio through physical mediumship, Grace Cook, who's my mediumship guide, would say to me, the conditions in the throat are not good, we need you to fall back. And so what she was saying to me was, basically, they need my ego out of the way, my mind out of the way. So I had to, you know, fall back a little bit, almost go into like a little sleep and meditative state, and just release and let go of the control. And I was able to do that, and this is something that you're going to have to practice, guys, with mediumship. Letting go of control, not trying, and that is as simple as physically relaxing and trusting. So you've put your intention forth, you know the spirits are working with you, then the next thing to do is just completely relax and be prepared for nothing to happen. I think we talked about that before. Be prepared for nothing to happen. Because if you're trying to make something happen, nothing will happen. When you're not trying and you're prepared for nothing to happen, something will happen. That's the way it works. Because it's not your ego that's doing it, it's your spirit. And when you physically relax, remember we said, when you physically relax, then your spirit takes over. Your spirit's very present. Your spirit's in control and you're empowered. So they would have said, you know, Grace would say to me, the conditions are not right, or the conditions are good, or whatever. And the conditions are usually that you need to be physically relaxed, or that you're too cold, so you're tense, or that the intention isn't pure. Maybe your intention wasn't right. The intention you sent forth, maybe you're trying to gain something out of this process that doesn't honor the process, therefore the process doesn't happen. If it does happen, you can bet your life then your intentions towards your client and your intentions towards yourself and to the spirit that you're working with are good and pure, and the conditions are good. But if your intentions fall short in any way, it's something that it's not nice to talk about. But there are mediums out there that their intentions are not good. They might be doing this purely to make money. They might be doing it to have some kind of a identity or status. They could be completely pretending half the time, and maybe getting an odd result. They could be cold reading the person's energy. That's easy to do, very easy to do. I remember many years ago, way back 2003, 4, maybe 5, I'm not sure, certainly 2003 and 4, I was reading playing cards for a living, and people would come, and most of the time, very rarely was I getting pure spirit communication. Most of the time I was reading the cards or reading the person's energy field. And it's very easy to read a person's energy field when you're an empath, because you can feel what they're feeling. And so if you say something and they're feeling something, then you pick up on that and you know you're on the right track or the wrong track. And also reading what their responses. You know, most people that come for card readings, especially, the kind of people that say, well, can you see anything around me? They need help, they want healing, that's why they're there, and they usually give everything away. So I was doing these kind of readings in 2003 and 2004, and I was getting some successes, but mostly I recognized what I was doing, and you do it without thinking. You don't, I don't mean to hoodwink people. Well, some people do mean to hoodwink people, but I certainly wasn't, of course. But I recognized that although I was helping these people, and although I was being honest with them, this wasn't a pure spirit communication. That, coupled with the recognition that the people that were coming back again and again and again were vulnerable people, and I thought, this is none of my business to be at this game with vulnerable people, so I stopped doing it. I do readings now because I know that I'm getting pure spirit communication, and I know that I'm not cold reading anybody, so I do them distantly, just to make sure that I'm not cold reading anybody or not recognizing what they say or picking up empathically from them. These are things to watch out for. Number one, watch out if you're going for a mediumship reading. Watch out for the type of medium that is cold reading you and is not getting direct spirit communication. The tarot reader that's just reading the cards and reading you at the same time. Watch out for that. Take everything with a pinch of salt. Most of these people have very good intentions and they're good people. Like me, they're just maybe starting to realize that they're not getting pure spirit communication here. But also watch out for the people that are doing that for a living, and there are those out there that will seek vulnerable people out and will charge big, huge money, huge, massive money for to cold read them, to tell them what they want to hear, you know, and that's sad, but that happens. It happens. Be you the person that the clients come to and say, well, I had this reading and the person ripped me off, and be you the person that they go away and say, I thank God that I found her or I found him now, because this person's genuine and this person won't hoodwink me and this person will tell me, be honest with me. Okay. One of the things I will say about all kinds of readings, in particular with mediumship readings, never say anything negative. Because if you're dealing with spirits that are in the astral realms, then they can say negative things because they're not healed yet, you know, so they can say some pretty negative things. Don't pass on any negative energy to clients. You're very smart people. Do what I did. Find a way of making that a positive statement, or else don't pass on the negative statement at all. But find a way of saying it with a positive light and in a caring manner. Yeah, that, I think that's the best thing to do. I remember and it still happens where clients will come to me and I'll think, oh my God, this person's, you know, had quite a bit of trauma in the past, and I don't think this person realizes that, you know, this stuff has happened to them. I think they've blocked all this stuff out, you know. The last thing I'm going to do is blurt it out. The best thing to do is to skirt around it and test the water. And so what I used to do was, because what you find in this lifetime you will find in the client's previous lifetimes. So what I used to do was, I used to do an astral journey into their past lives and find a past life very similar to this one, and I used to talk about it. And so those people would maybe go away with the information about their past life or whatever, and the healing work that I've done, and they feel much lighter, and then they wake up the next morning and they say to themselves, God, I have a feeling that happened in this life as well. And you see, then you've helped them to open themselves up in as much as they're capable of doing without harming themselves. So I believe it's never a good thing to blurt things out, and certainly never a good thing to say something negative that the spirits have said. Once you get past that realms of the heart, and once you start to move up into the third eye and the crown chakra, and the spirits that are coming to work with previous lifetimes and to heal their families and stuff like that, then usually I would say 9.5 times out of 10 it's very positive energy geared towards healing, and not selfishness in any way, or poor me or anything like that in any way, or no accusations or anything like that. Okay, so yeah, the spirit team will work with your physical mediumship as well as your mental mediumship, as well as your own healing and your past life work, everything. Your spirit team are responsible for all that, and as you progress, as you excuse me, as you evolve, as you awaken more and more. We don't just wake up and then that's it. You know, I'm not awake. I am awakening. You know, if I was awake, I would be a spiritual master right here, right in front of you. I'm awakening, and I'm very much more awake than asleep. But when you start to wake up, when you have a spiritual awakening, you're still very sleepy. I think we spoke about this. You're still very sleepy, and you're rubbing the sleep from your eyes, and it takes that process of healing and transformation and awakening to really have your eyes then wide awake. And by that stage, you have ascended and then integrated your spiritual mastery. Buddha, you're Buddha, enlightened. Okay, channeling then, we'll quickly move on because I want to make room for the dowsing. Channeling higher self is pretty much everything that I've said so far. It's about relaxing. It's about allowing your spiritual team to do their thing. Channeling is always about physical mediumship because it comes through your throat. So anything that passes around the throat into the body is about physical mediumship and not mental mediumship. Channeling is allowing your own ego, your own mind to fall back, as my guides would say, to fall back and allow the spirit mind, the mind that's in the spirit world, to speak to your throat instead of you. And it may sound like your own voice because you're using your own voice box. You don't have to use your own voice box. With physical mediumship, as I said before, you can use an etheric voice box, which will sound like the spirit's voice, but that's not necessary. Only that is necessary is to bring the message through. For example, I'll just channel a Venusian guide, a Venusian spirit that I've been channeling at this last while for people, and she's here, and I'll just let her say something to you, and then I'll tell you what she says in English. And once she comes a bit closer to me, and she speaks a light language, and she speaks a language that comes from Venus. Sounds very much like vowels and consonants and clicks. It was first transpired into physical language in Africa, in Lemuria. So okay, I'm going to bring her to you. Okay, and so what she was saying was pretty much, she repeated what I just said. She was talking about the process of light coming through the process of vowels and consonants and sounds of throat actually working, of a physical working throat, and then softening and elongating and slowing down into a physical language, putting those vowels and consonants together. I'm in the process of writing about this, and I'm going to create a video to explain it as well, so that's something that you'll be able to avail of when it's finished. But that's what she was taught, that's what she said, and that's an example of channeling, of allowing my mind to fall back and for her to speak. And you notice that my mind hadn't fallen back so far as, yeah, that's right, many people do this, speaking light language now. There's different forms of light language, and some of them sound the same, others sound more like my clicks and vowels and stuff like that. What was I talking about? What was I saying? I don't remember. What was I saying about oh yeah, you'll notice that my mind understood what was being said. And that's part of your mediumship guide's job. You know, I will understand in English as I'm listening to the light language. You'll understand in English. So and you have to get that out quick, because if you don't get it out quick, you're going to forget. You're going to forget it very, very quickly. You'll forget it. Sometimes they show as these extraterrestrials are working with me, they'll show me pictures of what they're talking about, and I'll also hear what they're saying in English, or I'll hear parts of it in English, or I'll hear an interpretation in English. That kind of a way comes as thoughts into my mind. This is what they're talking about. I start to think about something as the voices, as the language is coming out, and I pick up then the interpretation of it. So very important, that relaxation and trusting, very, very important, and to allow the idea that nothing will happen, because that's when something will happen. I think we talked about that when we were talking about healing, hands-on healing. You know, that you may stand over a client with your hands above them for an hour, and maybe 10 minutes of that something's happening, and the rest of it was you trying. You know, so and then, you know, as you stop trying more and more and more, then, you know, it doesn't take an hour to do the work. It takes less, because it's genuine spirit communication and flow of channeling that spiritual energy. Okay, we've got half an hour left, and we want to move on into dowsing and automatic writing. I'll give you a couple of minutes, like I did before, and just scoot off and get a page and paper, a page and a pen, paper and pen. Automatic writing is a great way to practice spirit communication. And I think most people that I know would have used automatic writing to practice spirit communication. But I use automatic writing to write. It's a form of channeling. So you can use your pen for automatic writing, or you can do what I do. I use the keyboard. You go into a trance, and whenever I'm channeling using the keyboard, an awful lot of the time I'm in a trance state, and maybe I hear the words that I have to write, and I'm writing them as I hear them, and then I will go into a deeper trance state, and it's like I'm thinking, I've gone off in a daydream, or I'm thinking about something, and then I'll suddenly realise, oh gosh, I've written something there and I didn't know I was writing that. That's automatic writing. If you're consciously aware of what you're writing, it's not automatic writing. Automatic writing is where the spirit is literally moving the pen or moving your fingers on the keyboard, that you're not getting to precognate what it is that you're going to write. So automatic writing is it's like using a pendulum. With a pendulum, you keep your hands straight and the pendulum moves. With a pen or with the keyboard, you keep your hands straight and then the pen moves. You keep your hand relaxed and then the pen moves, and your hand moves with the pen. It's like you know, as with the pendulum. So I'm just asking the pendulum to show a positive energy here, a yes energy. You can see it's starting to move already, and it's moving from left to right in a circle. And for me, that answer is yes. That's positive energy, very positive energy. You can see it's almost flying off. I'm having to hold on to it here. So the same with the pen. If I hold the pen on paper and just relax and come into a very, very positive energy, and not ask the pen anything in particular, not ask the pendulum anything in particular, but just then the pen will start to move, and it'll probably go in circles around and around and around and around and around. And Black Elk, my spirit guide, has just said something to me there, which, you know, he did say he wasn't getting involved in these, but he just did. He says, you know, when a toddler first gets a pencil or a crayon in their hands, it's round and round and round and round and round, because they don't have the process of words just yet, never mind writing words. They don't have the process of being able to move their hand to make the image of a house or the image of a person. They just simply saying, I'm going to do this that mommy has showed me to do, or I've seen somebody else doing. And because they don't have that mental process, they're empty of it. They just go round and round and round and round and round and round, because that is the nature of the soul. They're coming from their intuition, they're coming from their flow, they're coming from their etheric energy, which is going round and round and round and round and round. So when you begin to use a dowser, a pendulum, or you begin to use a pen for automatic writing, it's imperative that you empty yourself and be like that little child that has no concept of what it's about to put onto the paper, no concept of what is going to happen with the pendulum. Now that pendulum is not moving by itself. There's no spirit outside of it that's moving it. That's not the way it's working. What's moving the pendulum is your spirit. Your intuition is moving the pendulum. I'm going to ask the pendulum to give me a no answer. I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to emanate a very negative feeling. I know something negative, and for me, when the answer is a negative or a no, then the pendulum, instead of going round and round and round, it just swings back and forth. So I'm going to emanate from my spirit. My spirit's going to emanate from my energy field a negative energy, and we see what happens to the pendulum, because it's my spirit that's doing it. Not something outside, not a spirit outside of me. See, it's going back and forth. And I haven't asked it anything. I'm just emanating a negative energy. Or a negative intention, or no, not even a negative intention. A negative, what would be the word? Data. I'm going to change it to positive. And you can see it's starting to shift. And now it's moving around. So it's your spirit that moves the pendulum. It's not your fingers. You keep them exactly still. It's not your hand. It's not your arm. It's your spirit. It's your emanations. That's coming off your energy field. It's the signals coming from you that's moving the pendulum, because the pendulum's connected to your hand, which is connected to your energy field, to your hand chakra or whatever, and your chakras are moving the pendulum. You can, one of the best ways to have you all got paper and pen there ready for automatic writing? Yeah, some people just tell me they're using pendulums and dowsers and automatic writing. Yeah. One of the best ways to start with a pendulum is, do you remember you did the scanning with your hands to feel people's energy fields, going through their chakras and feeling the different chakras? Can everybody hear me? Can somebody send me a message to say if they hear me, because Anne says she can't hear me. Nobody? No? Okay, so the video actually, oh, you can hear me, Colette. I thought maybe the video had stopped. Anne, can you drop me a message, let me know if you can hear me? And then maybe if you can't, oh good, if you play back, play the video back and get whatever you missed. Oh great, thank you guys. So what was I saying? Sorry about that, Anne. May have been a wee glitch on your part. Everybody else seems to be able to hear me now anyway. Play the video back and get what you lost. One of the best ways to start using a pendulum is to start hanging it in front of people's chakras. So let's do it with my solar plexus energy. And I'm not asking it to go in a different direction. I'm not going to intentionally emanate spiritual energy, emanate a negative energy or a positive energy. I'm just going to hang the dowser or the pendulum in front of my solar plexus, and I'm going to ask it, is my solar plexus open or closed? Is it positive or negative? And let's see what it says. So straight away it's starting to move in a circle. Now you notice that it's not a wider circle as it was when I was emanating positive energy. I'll emanate positive energy now. Do you see the difference? See that? It's stronger. That tells me that my solar plexus today is open, it's working, but it wasn't emanating too positively. There could have been more. I could have lifted my energy up even more. So I lifted my energy by feeling positive, feeling happy, and immediately the emanations from my energy field became more powerful and stronger vibes. Great. Negative, for example, if you hang the pendulum, I'm going to make this actually go left to right now, but if you hang the pendulum in front of somebody's throat chakra and it starts to move left to right, starts to give a negative, then that's probably indicating that the throat chakra is very shadowy. And what you can do then is send light to the throat chakra, do some healing on the throat chakra, and then put the pendulum up again, and I'm asking it to do a positive, and then it should give you a positive answer if the healing has been successful. If it's clockwise, is it open? For me, if it goes in a circle clockwise, that's a positive answer. It means the chakra's opened. And if it goes from left to right, it's a negative answer, negative energy. The answer's no, or the chakra's closed. But that's not to say that that's the way it'll be with you. So I think some people do like clockwise is a yes and anti-clockwise in a circle is no. But I like to do the back and forth. And I'll tell you where I think I got that back and forth from. My expectations of it was that because in Ireland there's a wee tradition when a person's pregnant that if you put their wedding ring on a chain and hang it in front of the womb, then if it goes in a circle it's a girl, and if it goes back and forth it's a boy. So I bet you some of you knows that there. And you've probably done it when you were pregnant. So I was thinking about something funny there. Yeah, use it on people's chakras. Do you get a sort of a feel to positive answer and a negative answer? But yes, that's right. You can also ask it questions. For example, my name is Eliza. So instead of asking it a question, sometimes asking a question confuses it. If you make a statement, and it'll tell you if that statement is positive or not, because your spirit will tell it if you're lying, if it's not true. It's a bit like a sonograph, is it you call it? Or what do you call that thing with a lie detector? Yeah, video has stopped for Anne as well. Anne, you seem to be having these issues tonight. I'm hoping against hope that it's your device that's throwing up these issues, and that it's not mine. But so, and if it is yours, then you'll be able to play back whenever the issues are resolved. Please go on. But anybody else, if there's any issues, let me know. So my name is Eliza, and it's given me a yes. Now I'm going to say something that's an absolute lie. I'm a 15-year-old girl. Now, you know, and without moving my hand, the pendulum is starting to move from left to right. Because it knows from the emanations of that statement that was a negative statement. You can't hide when you're telling lies. And so when you're connected to your spiritual self, when you're connected to your spirit communication and you're in a relaxed state, therefore you are connected to your spirit communication, and you're not doing this from your ego, then the pendulum will detect what the spirit knows to be true or not. And if you're looking for answers to things that you don't consciously know, and you're asking your spirit, ask them through the pendulum. The pendulum will pick up what the spirit knows. Does anybody want to fire me a quick question, something that I don't know the answer to, and just see if it gives a yes or no? So you know, you can say something like my husband is at home right now, or my husband is at work right now, but don't say things like, is my husband at work or at home, because that's totally confusing. Try to make statements. If you want to know if the shop is opened, silly thing, if you want to know if you're going to get a parking space, say, I'm going to get a parking space, and then it'll tell you yes or no. And that's the best way to get an answer. Yes or no's. Some psychics work with maybes. And what do you mean? Mine is doing the same. Oh, your dice are great. Yeah. Some psychics work with maybes, and you can actually get a chart, like a round chart that has it's like a Ouija board, but instead of a Ouija board, there's, I'll do that now in a moment, Colette. Instead of a Ouija board, there's a yes, no, maybe, depends, something like that. And I'm not a big fan of those, but they are a thing, and you can buy them over the internet. They're very cheap. You put the pendulum on them, and you ask the pendulum to move in the direction, and it'll move, you know, either to yes, no, it'll start, you know, moving towards that answer, you know. But no, I'm not a big fan of that, or Ouija boards or anything like that there. I mean, yes, these things do work, because you know, it's your spiritual emanations coming from your spiritual awareness, whether it's unconscious or not, that's actually moving the pendulum. Colette has asked, am I in my kitchen? Colette, so what I'm going to say is, Colette is in her kitchen, and we're going to see if it says yes or no. Colette is in her kitchen. And it's saying yes, you're in the kitchen, Colette. So hopefully you are in the kitchen. That would seem funny, wouldn't it? Okay, so Colette, you're in your kitchen. Great. Yes, it's our spirit that moves the pendulum, not other spirits. I mean, you could say maybe to your spirit guide, come through and merge with me here and help me move this pendulum. Yes, she is in the kitchen. So help me affect the pendulum. But at the end of the day, it's your spirit that's doing it. It is your spirit that's doing it. And if you can merge your spirit with that of your spirit guide, well, then you're simply lifting your spirit, aren't you? So you're giving it more power, more strength. So that's a good thing to do. With automatic writing, then, so yeah, use the pendulum to ask. You know, you can use the pen if you've lost your ring. You know, use the pendulum. Okay, is the ring is in the kitchen? My ring is in the kitchen. It might say yes or no. Well, this is saying no to me. My ring is on my hand, and it's saying yes. So, you know, the ring is in the kitchen. It'll say yes or no. If it says no, then say, well, the ring is in the bathroom. If it says no, then the ring is in the bedroom. Keep going till you get a yes. Then, oh, the ring is beside the bed. It might give you a yes. Oh, the ring is in my vanity cabinet, and it might give you a yes. Go straight to your vanity cabinet and have a look, and you'll probably find it. So with automatic writing, get your pencil, your pens ready there and paper. With automatic writing, it's the very, very same thing. Only your pendulum is the pen. Your spirit's moving the pen. And you can ask a question then you can get a yes, no, you know, I'm a woman, and you know, the spirit, the pen should move yes. Ask a question. One thing that I used to do, and I think it would be great if you practice this, some of you probably already have done this. When I used to begin to connect with my guides in 2002, connect with them again and develop my clairvoyance and my clairaudience and that, I used to ask them questions. I used a pendulum, yes, but I also used automatic writing. And so what I did was I wrote a question down. For example, is England going to win the match today? They did, by the way. Is England going to win the match today? And then I would take the pen in my opposite hand, my non-writing hand, and I would just relax, and it would come. I would start writing, and maybe didn't know what I was going to write, but I in that case I would have written a yes. You can do that to ask questions. You can do it in a way that you are actually, you know that you're physically pushing the pen, you know that you are making this happen, but you're not really sure what it is that you're going to write. A bit like me with my fingers on the keyboards, where I'm in a bit of a trance, and channeling, and I kind of have I know I want to start, and I'm kind of hearing the words as they're coming out, and I'm saying it as it's coming out, but it's still kind of me that's doing it. The difference was when I was writing something with a keyboard and suddenly looked on the screen and realised that I was writing something I didn't realise that I was writing. That's automatic writing. So there's a difference. But it's like astral travel, you know. You fake it till you make it. You're not really faking anything. You're just going through a process that helps you to practice to get there. So take it into your non-writing hand, the pen, and answer the question from Spirit. And you may write one word, or you may write a sentence. Immediately take it into your writing hand and write it underneath what you've just written, because it'll look like a scribble and you'll not remember what it was. Same with trance channeling, any kind of channeling. If you want to remember it, get it written down as quickly as possible, because with trance channeling, with all kinds of trance work, you're going to forget. That's the beauty of automatic writing, is you don't forget, because it's written down there. So what I want you to do now is, I want you to, and then I want you to practice doing this through the week as well. I want you to relax, come into a very meditative state, ask your guides to come in. Ask your guides to be with you really strongly and give you a very direct message, and maybe one or two words only. Ask them to, you know, you don't want to make it too difficult for yourself, and just really relax your hand, the pen on the paper. Don't have any tension in your hand, but certainly have enough so that the nib is touching the paper. And ask your guide and get yourself extremely relaxed, asking your guide to give you one word. And just let the pen move. When you feel that the pen wants to move, let it move. Now I can't even make out what I've written there, but I believe it's something about an owl. So I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. But if you guys just want to throw up before we close, as we're saying goodbye here, if you want to throw up some wee comments there and let me know if you've actually been able to write a word down that you believe that you didn't precognate. And listen, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody has done it, because it is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of practice. It takes you to completely relax and surrender to be able to do this. It's something that you're going to practice at, and you're going to practice doing it by asking your guide a question, writing the question down with your writing hand, and then switch over to your non-writing hand and writing out an answer through trance. Has anybody, okay, so you didn't get, no, did anybody get a word written down, or even a letter, or did anybody get to a stage where they felt that the pen was moving? Acceptance, great. A wriggle line, pretty much what I got at that time too. See, I was talking to you at the same time. I got a wriggly line, but I have a suspicion I was trying to write the word owl. Okay. keep throwing those things up if anybody got anything at all. Probably did many of you actually even get a squiggly line? Usually with automatic writing, before you start to get words, like a toddler, you will get circles. The pen will start to move in circles, which is great. If the pen moved in circles and you're getting squiggles, I don't know if you can see that because I can't obviously see it, but I'm hoping you can see it there, that you get circular sort of movements, then that's a clear sign that you're well on your way, that you're getting to a stage where you're starting to empty yourself, and the conditions then are good. Yeah, it moved. The pen moved. Great. Okay. Yeah, some people said nothing happened. Yeah, but yeah, good. Sharon, you did. So that's automatic writing and using a pendulum. It's coming from your spirit, which cannot lie. Your hand chakra will pick up on negative or positive energy depending on what it is that you're saying. If it's a positive statement or a negative statement, if the chakra is opened or it's not opened, and so yeah, incomprehensible writing. Anne says, yeah, incomprehensible. Sometimes when you're practicing with your left hand, it's incomprehensible as well. But when you're doing it like that, Monica got book. Oh, Monica, what does that tell you, dear? When you're practicing by just using your non-writing hand and allow yourself to write things down, that's a form of mediumship, and that helps to lead towards emptiness for automatic writing. And if it's incomprehensible, then immediately write down underneath it what you know it said. Kelly wrote Luke. 2 O's in book and 2 O's in Luke, which is interesting, and 2 K's, you know, so that's interesting as well, that it could have come, maybe an easy word to write, you know, because the child, as it says, Blackout says, writes like this. So very, very easy then to write those 2 words. So that could be direct communication, or it could be that that you're just practicing writing down words there. But keep practicing, and I'm going to put up a wee post for homework about that and about the 10-minute, 15-minute mediumship exercise. And I'm hoping that everything's okay with the video. It should be. If it's not, then I might have to repeat or make a recording or something. Okay, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Okay, and thank you very much. Colette, you wrote something, another. Is that a word? Or is that, yeah? I see if that was me, Colette. I'd be on Googling that word to see where it came from. To see if it's a word, if it's a different language. Yeah, thanks very much, Colette. Another good night. Yeah, another great night, and thank you all for tuning into the live video. I will speak to you again throughout the week. Okay, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye.